In this segment of the video, we'll look at developing the mental skills to recognise the potential for harm accurately. It will let you know how to avoid getting hurt or hurting someone else.
And on a motorcycle, I suppose because you are more exposed, there is that large element of risk. If you do come off, then you're likely to be injured.
When I started riding, there were no rider training courses. It took me so much longer to get my skill levels up compared to what people can do nowadays.
The conditions are changing, the elements are changing, and you have to change and work with those elements to reduce the amount of risk for you at all possible times.
If we're able to recognise risk accurately, we don't need to be told what to do. We avoid the edge of the cliff. We keep away from the danger. It's no different on a bike. Surviving is about keeping away from danger, usually by slowing down or moving away.
I thought about it because I really thought the car was in the wrong, the driver of the car. But in actual fact I was, because I was in his blind spot and there wasn't any way that he could have seen that I was there.
This lady was on her mobile phone and she's gone off into the gravel and flicked up a few stones, and in hindsight what I perhaps should have done was backed off a little bit and make there be more distance between myself and her.
Perhaps you already have the bike skills to protect yourself, but you also need the mental skills. The mental skills for recognising what you should be slowing down or moving away for, and exactly when you should be doing it. If you slow down and move away too early, you might hold up other traffic or confuse other drivers. If you're too late slowing down or moving away, you might not have enough room to avoid crashing. As a guide to safe, smooth riding, you need to be preparing to protect yourself at least 3 seconds before an event. If your mind is on the job and the riding conditions are good, 3 seconds gives you time to react and stop smoothly if you have to, or time to reposition your bike. Let's look at how you are 3 seconds from an event. Select a stationary point in front of you and guess when you think you are 3 seconds away. Then count. 1001, 1002, 1003. If you've passed your selected point before you get to the end of 1003, you need to give yourself more room. Here's the 3 seconds projected in front of the bike at 60 kilometres an hour. We can call this our survival space. When you go faster, the 3 second space gets longer. You need more survival space because it takes longer to stop, and you'll need more room to manoeuvre. When you're slow, the space gets shorter. That's okay. The brakes have less work to do, and you need less room to manoeuvre. For adverse conditions, you'll need at least another second, possibly more. To survive, you need to protect this space. If you don't, you're putting yourself at risk, like this rider. He hasn't responded to the car on the right or the car on the left. If either driver moves off now, the rider will have very little time or space to avoid a crash. Look, slow down or move away. These are the habits you need to develop to avoid harm. We'll watch this rider follow these steps. She'll be looking for anything that could enter her survival space. The first thing will be this car at the intersection. By the time the rider's survival space reaches this car, she should be getting ready to slow down or move away, or maybe both. Let's hear what she's thinking.
All right, now there's a car approaching the side street on the left. No one behind me. I'll set up the brakes, move right to create a survival space.
Let's continue to follow the rider in a busy street. Notice how she looks carefully, scanning all around so she has plenty of time to respond to anything that could enter her survival space.
All right, now I'm checking my mirrors. The lights are green, they could change. There's further pedestrians over on the left, a car with its radar on. Caution through the intersection and try and make eye contact with the person in the white Ford.
Now let's look at the rider in a number of different situations.
All right, I'm checking my mirrors. The traffic's a fair way behind me. The lights are green, so I'll continue cautiously. Now, I'm looking at that blue car on the left. Its lane's going to run out, so at this rate he'll merge into my survival space. I'd better drop back. Right, now he's in front. I'll check my 3 second gap and then continue. All right, now I'm checking my mirrors. There's a car passing on my right. I'm in his blind spot now. He can't see me in his mirror and he could do a lane change. I'll check my mirrors, drop back.
Let's look at how to deal with a hill crest.
I'm looking at this hill crest coming up. Can't see what's on the other side. The main concern's vehicles coming the other way. Better move towards the left.
The rider is approaching a left-hander. He's positioned himself to maximise his view around the corner, but he can't see through to the end of it. There could be anything around there, including a car coming the other way. He backs off, changes down, and gets his space back. The rider is approaching a right-hand corner. He's positioning himself for the best view and looking for the end of the curve. He may meet a vehicle coming around the corner, so he keeps away from the middle of the road. He gives himself some room on the left as well. Good riders use a variety of methods to fine-tune their cornering, but protecting their survival space comes first. Now that we've seen a rider look for and respond to potential harm, you have a go. Let's follow this rider. We'll pause each time the rider's safety is threatened. You look for the threat and work out the best response. Try to do this before we pause. Can you see the threat? The vehicle on the left is going to come across and take the rider's lane, moving into his survival space. What does the rider do? Mirror and ease back. A new threat. The vehicle on the left coming up from the side road may come through. The rider's action? Check mirror, set up brakes, moving slightly toward the centre but not too far as there's an oncoming vehicle, and continue. A lot happening here. A vehicle on the left, two pedestrians on the right, and a heavy vehicle coming down the centre with a smaller vehicle hidden behind it. Brakes are set up and the rider moves to the centre, not too far to the left. The threat? A heavy vehicle turning and a vehicle on the right that could come out wide, also an oncoming vehicle further back. The rider's action is to reposition to the left and continue. A slippery surface, a crash up ahead. People could step out from the broken down vehicle which may itself move, and the vehicle on the right has cut across into the rider's lane, invading his survival space. The rider checks mirrors, sets up and repositions to the left. A vehicle on the left which may or may not push out. The rider checks mirrors, sets up and positions himself to the right. Looking ahead, there are parked cars in the rider's lane. He'll want to move right, but must be watchful of vehicles coming through. The rider checks mirrors, signals, head checks over his shoulder, and continues on. A school crossing area and work vehicles, one partly blocking the road. It doesn't seem hazardous, but it's possible that school kids or workmen may come out and enter the rider's survival space. The rider checks mirror, sets up brakes and moves toward the centre of the road. He is well prepared to respond to the possible threats.
So remember, whenever you're riding, always create and maintain a second survival space and keep away from danger by slowing down and moving away.